Down the stretch they come!
Welcome back to Down the Stretch. Remember, before we get started, if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and definitely leave a comment. We have 10 races on for Saturday, the 13th of September 2025. So let's get right into it. The first race, Naturebred 3-year-old maidens, not earned 280,000 lifetime, Division 1. A field of 9, they go 5.5 furlongs. I'm going to boil this race down to 4. They're going to be the 2, Prince Ogilvy, the 5, the Manipulator, the 8, Life is Light, and the 9, Runaway Bay. Okay, Prince Ogilvy. Paul Francis riding for Philip Lee. Only 4 starts to date. Showed a good run back on the 1st of August when finishing 3rd by 8 lengths to Legal Fight and Proudest Vision. Next start, going 7.5 furlongs. Off the pace, didn't really factor. That was against Minuel and Papi Uso. They've now changed the equipment. They've put on blinkers, tongue tie, and they've put on back the figure 8. And with Country Francis getting the ride on this horse now, expecting a turnaround in form from this Prince Ogilvy. The 5, the horse I like in the race, the Manipulator. Emilia McLean claiming 3 kilos here for Donovan Plummer. This horse has only 5 starts to date. Last time out, 6 by 11 lengths to Candy Girl at 6 furlongs. Pressed the pace early before fading. They've now put the tongue tie on. And this Manipulator definitely has some speed. And getting that 3 kilo claim, I think this is the horse that they might have to catch. And this is the horse I like in the event, the Manipulator. Then we have the 8, Life is Light. Coming out of that same race with Candy Girl, stayed on to finish 3rd by 4.5 lengths. Gets a 4 kilo claim now, so taking off 9 pounds off of that 116 pounds. So coming in extremely light, this Life is Light. Doesn't really have much early speed, but is quick enough to start the pace. And if they come back in the stretch with this light impulse, coming from a dangerous trainer like Gary Griffiths, this Life is Light could definitely gobble them up in deep stretch. And the 9, Runaway Bay, Romaria Spencer, claiming 2 kilos for David Linsin, 117 pounds, so he'll take care of 5 pounds, coming in at 112. Only 4 starts to date. But last time out wasn't that bad. It was 9 by 15 lengths at the furlong pole, finished 8 by 9 lengths, so made up 6 lengths in the last furlongs to Pretty Sassy. Now, Pretty Sassy has got up in class and run well. Slam Sharp was second in that event. The blinkers are now on, the tongue tie is on, and claiming that 2 kilos off of this weight, this Runaway Bay could turn up and surprise at a good price. So those are the 4 I'm boiling it down to. And as I said, kind of like the Manipulator to go first call to That's All. The second race, Naturebred 4-year-olds and up, numbers of 4, and imported 4-year-olds and up, numbers of 3. A field of 7, they go 7.5 furlongs. This is a tricky little race. And last time I didn't go with my gut feeling in this class race when I left King Pie after I carried him on several occasions and he turned up. So this time I'm just going to go with my gut feeling. And what I read, this is the horse I'm going to pick. Selecting 4 horses here. It's going to be the 2, Brenda Boy, the 3, Smart Trick, the 5, Blue Sensation, and the 7, King Pie. Okay, Brenda Boy. Ryan Lewis riding here for Jason DeCosta. So I'm Ryan Lewis replacing Robert Halladine. Represents, in my opinion, the class horse of the red, this Brenda Boy. Just got caught flat-footed last time out, coming off the turn. King Pie made a big move and made first run on this Brenda Boy coming off the turn and managed to pull it off. But coming back down to 7.5 furlongs, I think, although is a deep closer, I think has more pace than King Pie, and is the horse I think they're going to have to beat, is this Brenda Boy. The 3, Smart Trick, Nicola Carr claiming 4 kilos here for Anthony Nunes. I know I'm going to get a lot of criticism about using Smart Trick at 7.5 furlongs, but hear me out. This race is absolutely void of speed. There's no horse in the race that has any pace to match strides with Smart Trick if Smart Trick decides to lead this race. And last time out, Smart Trick wasn't a bad run. That was just a week ago, 5 furlongs straight. Made the lead early, was pressured from the off by Come Home to Me, who's rounded back into good form, and finished 5th by 7 3/4 lengths in 58.4. That's what time the race was running. So Smart Trick finished in 1 minute and 2/5. undoubtedly, in my opinion, is going to be out on that lead. He's getting 4 kilos, so he's coming in pretty light, 110 pounds. And if Nikara Carr is able to rate Smartrick on the lead and relax him before he hits that half-mile turn and save him for the stretch drive, could take a lot of catching. Very dangerous horse at a big price. I'm definitely squeezing him in here, being the speed horse. Next up is going to be the 5, Blue Sensation. Shaheem Gordon claiming 4 kilos for Peter John Passad. Another one of those late-running horses. Will enjoy the distance. To me, though, is a run-on sprinter, in my opinion. I think this horse prefers up to 6.5 running on. But I think ran 4th by 24 lengths to ride all day, so out of class there. Getting a 4 kilo claim by the apprentice. As I said, my opinion, I think this horse prefers to go shorter running on, but is a run-on horse, and if the pace comes back, I'm expecting Blue Sensation with the lighting post to be staying on strong. And the 7, King Pie, who finally got it right last time out when stretched out going 2 turns, was way off the pace, made a big move, leaving that half-mile pole to catch everyone flat-footed and hang on from Brenda Boy by a short head at the finish. Returns here with Allington and Allen claiming 2 kilos for Anthony Nunes. Will be off the fractions once again at this short trip, but if stablemate Smartrick sets the track on fire early, could set up for King Pie running on once again. But that's just depending on the dynamic of the race. As I said, Brenda Boy definitely looks like the horse they're going to have to beat at 7.5 furlongs. But be careful if this Smartrick is allowed to settle on that easy lead. Could be dangerous. The 3rd race, Nature Bred 2-year-old maiden special weight, field of 7, 4 furlongs straight. I know nothing about these horses, so I'm just going to have to go off for workouts and breeding. I'm going to boil this race on to 5 horses. It's going to be the 2, Darwin, the 3, God's Plan, the 5, Blythewood, the 6, Maybell, and the 7, Fidelity. Okay, Darwin. Interestingly bred colt, casual trick out of Cape by Lonro. This is the half-brother to Hansa. And if you all know and follow my channel, I was carrying Hansa for the classics before she injured herself in the St. Leger and had to be retired. But this is her little brother. Has that Australian bloodline on the dam side. Gets some speed breeding from the stallion. So working well at exercise. So let's see how this Darwin runs first time of asking. The 3, God's Plan. Avina Malcano out of Fearless Abbey. So bred for speed here. Dane Dawkins riding for Gary Sobrati. Not much workouts. Has a 37.2 for 3 furlongs. Strud 6 in 125. That's pretty decent. Coming in here. Owned by Oak Ridge Farms. Bred by the late Don Webby. This is God's Plan. Well bred and bred for a lot of speed. Let's see how he performs first time of asking. The 5, Blythewood. Radish Roman riding for Anthony Nunes. Okay, this is a 2-year-old colt out of Wow Wow by She's an Introvert. So, nicely bred. She's an introvert, decent brood mare. This horse has been flashing speed at the exercise, 25 and 3, 25 and 2, then 24 and 2. Galloped with Uncaptured Empress out the gates, 4 furlongs straight in 48. Eased up in 104. So, very forward, looks to be very speedy. Expecting a good run from this Blythewood. The 6, Maybell. Clive Lynch riding for Jason DaCosta. So Clive Lynch hunting up his 500th winner. Probably might get it on Saturday. I think he has at least 2 live rides. So this Maybell, sensational slam out of Let's Get It On. 1 start today. It was 3rd by 2 lengths to Salute the Don. Has come back to work fairly well with stablemate Fidelity. And expecting a good run from this Maybell. And the 7, Fidelity, Shane Ellis riding here for Jason DaCosta, was 2nd on debut to Salute the Don. Had stablemate Maybell behind. Have been working with each other, so expecting good runs from both. So they have the experience coming into the race. But the pace was not that strong. It was at 25 for the opening quarter. So I'm saying, it wasn't a very fast opening pace. I'm going to go with one of the debutants, to be honest. And the one that's showing the most speed, in my opinion, is going to be the Wow Wow colt, Blythewood. So I'm going to give Blythewood a shot. From breeding wise, I like Richard Azan Darwin coming out of the Australian bloodline of Cape and Lonro. Yeah. The fourth race, native-bred 3-year-old maiden, not earned 280,000 lifetimes, Division 2, a field of 9 going 5.5 furlongs. Going to boil this down to 5. Going to be the 1, Brilliant Mind, the 2, Skill at Arms, the 4, Newspaper of Records, the 5, She Is My Dream, and the 7, Laurie. Okay, Brilliant Mind, Shaheem Gordon claiming 4 kilos for Oral Hayden, so coming in extremely light. 4 starts today, last time out, disappointing run there, went back at 4-1. Showed up briefly before fading to finish 12 by 21 lengths to Candy Girl at 6 furlongs. Before that was 6 by 14 lengths to Dreamer's Corner after being prominent at the top of the lane. Best race was at this distance back in August 2nd when coming from off the pace to finish 4th by 5 lengths to Altogether, Miss Brayton and Dreamer's Corner. A reproduction of that run here with this light impulse. I'm expecting a better run from this Brilliant Mind. The 2, Skill at Arms, Demar Williams claiming 3 kilos for Captain Marlon Brown. Only 4 starts to date. Last time out showed some speed early. Came to the top of the lane 2 lengths second before failing to finish 8 by 12 lengths in that same race with Candy Girl. They've now taken off the blinkers, so they don't want the Skill at Arms to go too fast this time around. And if nursed on the front end going this shorter trip, expecting a much better run from the Skill at Arms. The 4, Newspaper of Records, Dick Cardenas once again retains the ride here for Errol Burke. Hasn't shown anything in most of the stats, but I do think this horse, coming off of that last run, is capable at this small trip, the shorter trip. Last time at 5.5 furlongs was the 2nd of August, finishing 6 by 14 lengths to Altogether, Miss Brayton and Dreamer's Corner. Came out of the gate extremely slow there, so I'm going to give him my excuse there. Tends to come out of the gates bad, and from a clean break this time around, a much improved effort is expected from this Newspaper of Record. The 5, She Is My Dream, Everett Clune is claiming 4 kilos for Ian Alexander. Only one good run to date, I would say, was the 6 furlong race back in July when finishing 3rd by 7 lengths to Alchemy of Soul, Secret Sensation, and She Is My Dream. Came out of the gates really slow and rocketed through to grab the lead. Led for most of the way before being outkicked by the out-of-class Alchemy of Soul. 2 lackluster performance since that, but coming in this light this time around, I'm expecting a much better run from this She Is My Dream on the front end. And last but not least, the 7, Laurie. Anthony Allen claiming 2 kilos here for Fitznahu Williams. Showed up on last, finishing 4th by 8 lengths in that same race with Candy Girl coming from off the pace. So much better for that run. And now coming back here, much fitter. Working out with stablemate The Real Identity. Expecting another good showing from this Laurie. So very competitive race. Not going to stick my neck out. But I'm hoping, and I think, the winner comes from one of those 5. The 5th race, native bred 5-year-olds and up. Non-winners of 4, imported 5-year-olds and up, non-winners of 3. A field of 10. And they go 6.5 furlongs, going to boil it down to 4. Going to be the 2, Propellant, the 6, Papa Grey, the 7, Moneybox, and the 8, The Real Identity. Okay, the 2, Propellant. Dane Dawkins riding here for Gary Sobrati. Arguably the best bred horse in the country, but doesn't have the ability of his breeding. This horse is out of Into Mischief, the top stallion in the world, out of Quality Way by Quality Road. This horse was originally purchased to run in the Mute Mile 2 years ago, but had his injury and didn't make it. Has been on the rebound since, has only two wins locally. Last time he won was the 15th of February, going 7 furlongs, winning by 12 lengths from Captain Philip and Superior. Nothing much there. Stepped up in class to 5-year-old non-winners of 4 and got beaten by She's My Hedge Fund. So obviously aggravated some issues that he had there. Just returning since March, but busy at the exercise. Does have some class, capable of running against this American horse. Dane Dawkins in the saddle. Definitely going to have to give Propellant a shot at setting the record straight. The 6, Papa Grey. Eric Horton claiming 4 kilos for Barrington Dawes. Gutsy grey horse, and if allowed to get to the lead, is a very dangerous animal at a good price. Last time out at 7 furlongs, tried to make all the running, but was pressed early. Faded to finish 4th by 4 3/4 lengths to Princess Talisi, Money Slam, and Money Box. So coming in much lighter this time around. Doesn't mind about the distance. His last win was at 7.5 furlongs when making all the running to win by a nose, beating Always Right. So this Papa Grey, very stubborn front runner, and if allowed to dictate terms, unmolested, could throw a scare at the late runners in deep stretch. The 7, Money Box, Radish Roman riding for Arnold Rambali Jr. Ultra fit right now, has 2 wins in the last few starts. Last time out was 5th by 4 lengths over the straight 5 course to Uncaptured Empress. Before that, when coming to this level, 7 furlongs, was closing fast to finish 3rd by 2 lengths to Princess Talisi and Money Slam, coming out of those gates slow. Had a win for 5.5 furlongs back in July, so 6.5 furlongs, not a problem, right out his alley. His last run at 6.5 furlongs was finishing 2nd to Medal Award, had the real identity behind in that race, and in that race Money Box just made his move a little too early and got beat there. But good run expecting once again from this Money Box. The 8, the Real Identity, Clive Lynch riding here for Fitznahu Williams. Now the Real Identity is a horse that can be anything. Once he breaks, he's definitely going to fight this out, but he has a tendency to be very slow at the start. Stepping up in class after that impressive 5-length win when coming out slow and leaving the half mile 14 lengths 9th and running on to win out of class by 5 lengths. The horse who we beat in that race, Charming Sound, recently turned up and won, so that's saying good for the chance of the Real Identity, even though stepping up in class. Definitely in here with a maximum shot. Those are the horses I'm going to boil it down to. As I said, Propellant, has the breeding, has everything to be a winner here, but question sign about his soundness. Papa Grey, speed sort, if get on that lead and no one decides to go with him, could be a dangerous horse. Money Box always runs an honest race, but the Real Identity from a clean break could be the horse that they're going to have to beat. The 6th race, 3-year-olds and up, optional claiming, 500,000 to 400,000, and native bred 6-year-olds and up, knowledge of 4, and imported 6-year-olds and up, knowledge of 3, a big field of 13. They go 5 furlongs straight. I'm going to boil this race down to 4. They're going to be the 5, Best Daughter-in-Law, the 7, Magical Mood, the 8, Basilicus, and the 12, Spirit of Light. Okay, Best Daughter-in-Law. Anthony Allen claiming 2 killers here for Vincent Atkinson. This Best Daughter-in-Law, I think, is possibly the fastest horse in this event. Last time out, finished 4th by 2 lengths to Cosmic Force. In a race, I think we all remember that race burst a lot of people's bet. Best Daughter-in-Law was 4 lengths clear at the quarter pole, 2 lengths clear at the furlong pole before being caught late in the event. Very speedy, but does have her problems, but has been working very well coming into this race. Was working with her A-class stablemate, Rhythm Buzz, recently. Galloped 5 furlongs straight in 103, her first 4 in 48. So this Best Daughter-in-Law, who this trainer, Vincent Atkinson, does well with horses off of breaks. He knows how to bring them to the wicket fresh and fit. I think this is the horse they're going to have to catch. I think this is the horse they're going to have to beat. The 7, Magical Mood. Demar Williams claiming 3 kilos for Tensan Chung. Last time out, 4th by 11 lengths to God of Love, who outclassed rivals, winning by 6 lengths. Before that, 5 furlongs straight, 4th by 4 3/4 lengths to Russia the Warrior and Rusty. Basilicus was 3rd there. So coming in light, this Magical Mood saves his best running for over the straight course. His last win was over the straight course, winning by 5.5 lengths, beating Phonometer and Era Fire after coming out of those gates slow. Does have enough pace to trap the leaders, and expecting a good run from this Magical Mood. The 8, Basilicus. Dane Dawkins riding for Joseph Thomas. Last time out, pressed the pace before being outkicked by out-of-class looking Whiskey. Finished 3rd by 8 lengths there. Before that was a winner by 2 3/4 lengths over Rocha the Warrior and Duke of Springs. That was back in July. Also a horse that loves the straight. Does have some speed. Will be able to track or press this Best Daughter-in-Law. And is in here with a good chance. And number 12, Spirit of Light. Omar Walker riding for Adrian Prince. Likely race. Argentinian bred horse. Hasn't lived up to early expectations. Best run was over the straight course back in May for 700,000 claimers, when finishing 3rd by 3 3/4 lengths to Emperor's Alley Cat and Jaguar. Last time out, 6 by 7 lengths to Russia the Warrior and Rusty. Basilicaris was third there. Was prominent early before fading when bet down to 3-2. Freshened up for this, and if a reproduction of that May 17th run, we'll definitely see Spirit of Light running a very competitive race. A outsider to note and to squeeze into your exotics. 13, Babla. Now, Babla, O'Neill Mullins riding for Rudolph Scott. Last time he won was back in August of last year, 500,000 claimers, which is equivalent to 700,000 now, over the straight course, winning by 6 lengths from Magical Mood. Since then, came back, was beaten 9th by 22 lengths by Emperors of the Cat, and then since then was 8 by 9.5 lengths to Restoration back in November. So just returning off a very long break, this Babla does have the potential to be a very useful animal, is active at the exercise, and I'm squeezing this one here as a outsider to watch. But I'm going to go with speed, and this Vincent Atkinson knows how to bring horses fit and fresh, and I think Best Daughter-in-Law is the fastest horse, and I think that's the horse they're going to have to catch. The 7th race, native bred 3-year-old and 4-year-old, non-winner of 4, and imported 3-year-olds and up, non-winners of 3, small field of 6, they go 5.5 furlongs, boiling this down to 3. They're going to be the 2, American Aviator, the 5, Miss Moneypenny, and the 6, Mighty Gully. Okay, the 2, American Aviator, Shane Ellis riding here for Jason DaCosta. Only 3 starts to date, impressive winner on debut, going this distance, 5.5 furlongs when making all the running, to win by 2 lengths from Rico. Next start came back, was 3-5 favorite when Supernatural Power was scratched, but still beaten 11 lengths by Supernatural Power's stablemate, Magnificent Force. Came back in May, going 6 furlongs, ran up into Incredible Joe and Supernatural Power. So, freshened up for this, has worked well since then, coming into this race, and expecting a turnaround of form from this American Aviator. Number 5, Miss Moneypenny, stablemate of American Aviator. Dane Dawkins riding here for Jason DaCosta. Miss Moneypenny won the first 2 races of her career before being beaten by Unspun. Then has kind of gone downhill since, but recently showed some spark of regaining some abilities on the 1st of August, going 5.5 furlongs. Tried to make all the running when pressed by another one, who eventually beat her there by 6.5 lengths. Another one came back to win another race and then step up in class and run a good 3rd. Then Miss Moneypenny's next start was over the straight course, beaten by another one again, but this time only half a length. So definitely regaining some of her ability. Definitely has a ton of speed, and possibly is the horse that you're going to all have to catch. And the 6, Mighty Gully. Dick Cardenas riding here for Robert Pearson. Classic aspirant, was 3rd by 11 lengths in the Guineas to Burning Hedge. Then going 2 turns, had no chances there, didn't stay the trip. But last time out, over the straight course, start the pace, ran well enough to finish 3rd by 1.5 lengths behind another one and Miss Moneypenny. So comes back to the distance that I think she prefers the best, sprinting, and I think she's going to put in another good run. So I think the race comes down to one of those 3, depending on how Jason DaCosta decides the tactics of the race. Will they let Miss Moneypenny dictate terms, or will he make American Aviator off the break just decide to try to swoop through? Interesting contest. I think it comes down to one of those 3. The 8th race, 3-year-olds and up, claiming 1.5 million to 1.2 million, a field of 9. They go 7 furlongs, going to boil this down to 4. They're going to be the 2, Empress Lynx, the 7, Ability, the 8, Sunny T and Chippy, and the 9, Midnight Galaxy. Okay, Empress Lynx, Dick Cardenas riding here for Barrington Bernard. Not much in recent starts, but that was in the overnight allowance company. Last good race, I would say, would be back in March in the King's Plate, finishing 4th by 14 lengths to Mojito and Unspun. Came back, finished 7th to Impressive Force, then beaten by Ken, then beaten by Interesting Times Ahead, then GIRVANO, then Teflon Don, Supremacy, and last time out last week by Bulletproof Coffee. So it takes a step down to 1.5 million claimers now. They've called for Cardenas, they've taken off the blinkers, and at this level, definitely giving Empress Lynx a shot in this race. The 7, the horse that if regains some ability will turn this into a mockery, and that's ability. Emilia McLean claiming 3 kilos for trainer Fitzgerald Richards. Okay, ability came off a break last time out when dropped to 1.5 million claimers. Prominent all the way to the furlong pole before fading to finish 5th by 5 lengths with the top weight to James. So was better for that run, but hasn't been out since. So definitely having some issues. This ability has only one workout, I see here, paced 4 furlongs straight in 55, and the rest of the workouts are canters. So maybe just trying to keep ability sound. They've taken off the tongue tie. Last time this horse ran it out, the tongue tie was back in April of 2024 in the Easter Sprint overnight allowance, 5.5 furlongs, winning by 8 lengths, beating KP Choice and God of Love. So if the right ability turns up, sound and ready, definitely the horse are going to have to beat. The 8, Sunny T and Chippy, another horse I really like in the race. Gavin Harris claiming 4 kilos here for Damon Gale. Disappointing the last 2 starts. Last time out, overnight allowance, finished 8 by 14 lengths to Mamma Mia and Fearless Force. Before that, at 1.5 million claimer, 6.5 furlongs, was bet down to 2-1, but failed to fire, finishing 5th by 13 lengths to Press Conference. Had a good run at this level back in May when trying to make all the running, but outkicked in the stretch by the down in class Money Miser, beating Sunny T and Chippy there by 2 lengths. So if Sunny T and Chippy turns up in a fighting mood, morning line says 8-1, definitely has a good shot of fighting this out, has a nice work coming to this race. Out shoot, gallop 7 furlongs in 134, so I think Sunny T and Chippy is fit, ready, and going to compete once again. And the 9, Midnight Galaxy, Shane Ellis riding for Oral Hayden. Okay, so I've had some nice runs recently before stepping up to overnight allowance. Got beaten by Out of Class Ride All Day, then by Out of Class GIRVANO. Stepped down to 1.5 million, going 5 furlongs round, which I think was a tad bit short, but ran well. 4th by 4.5 lengths to Fly Blue Jet. Next start went back up to overnight allowance last week. Finished 9th by 12 lengths over the straight course to Bulletproof Coffee. So stepping back down to high claimers, and even from the head of the scales with Shane Ellis in the saddle. Coming from a hot barn, working well. This Midnight Galaxy looks really tempting at 6-1. I think the race comes down to one of those 4. Very tricky race, depending on if ability is going to round out to form. That's the question sign. Sunny T and Chippy, very useful at this weight. Level has won at this level before, but Midnight Galaxy, Shane Ellis in the saddle, and even from the head of the scale, also looks very tempting. Value for money though, I'd probably take a chance with Sunny T and Chippy. The 9th race. This is the feature event, the Thunderbird Trophy. 3-year-olds and up, open allowance, a field of 8. They go 7 furlongs. Going to boil this down to 5 horses. They're going to be the 1, Supernatural Power, 3, Mamma Mia, 5, GIRVANO, the 7, Tis Talk, and the 8, Is That a Fact? Okay, Supernatural Power. Radish Roman riding here for Philip Fiani. Impressive filly. Was a super impressive winner on debut. I think that's the best race this horse has run. 6 furlongs, won there in 1:11.3 by 14 lengths, beating GIRVANO. Came back over the straight course. Had a slow start, but still managed to win easily by 5 3/4 lengths in 58-1. Had some problems. Rested off and freshened up. Came back working well, but ran up into a more impressive horse, Incredible Joe, getting beaten back-to-back races by Incredible Joe, also over 7 furlongs. Incredible Joe beat Supernatural Power by 15 lengths in 1:23.4. Supernatural Power finished in 1:26.4. Then came back to winning ways. Last 2 starts, winning 6 furlongs impressively, but nowhere as impressive as debut. Winning by 8 lengths in 1:14, beating eventual Oaks winner Linguist and Riches to Rags. Then last time out, 5 furlongs round, stepping up to overnight allowance. Came from off the pace to win by 2.5 lengths from Florindia after coming out of the gate slow. Not a big performance there. Florindia has since come back to be beaten up. Sensational Move is more of a high-class claimer, but the Supernatural Power is a horse with some talent. Does seem to have her issues. Has worked brilliantly coming into the race though. 5.5 furlongs in 1:05.4 with stablemate Unbelievable Force. So pretty decent work, and the Supernatural Power is definitely coming in here to put in a good performance, even though stretched out to 7 furlongs. The 3, Mamma Mia. Shaheem Gordon claiming 4 kilos for Jason Acosta. I'm going to get a lot of heat for thinking even Mamma Mia has a chance here. But This is horse racing. She's coming in extremely light. Going to be on that headlines. Cutting distance now, 7 furlongs. She's stepping back down in class from grade 1 company. At this handicap with a fit jockey, getting better with each of her run. Depending on the tactics, will Mamma Mia be used as a rabbit for stablemate GIRVANO, and is that a fact? Or will she get comfortable on that headline if no one decides to press her? And Mamma Mia, who has run against top class horses in the past, turn up and put in a very big, brave front running performance. So that's why I'm definitely going to squeeze Mamma Mia in here as an outsider to watch in this event, because she is naturally possibly the fastest horse in the race out the gates, and I think is the horse they're going to have to catch with this light impulse. So definitely squeezing Mamma Mia in here. The 5. This is my little pet project, man. GIRVANO came good last time out. I tipped this horse to beat the top horses because I think he was just too light to lose that day, and that was grade 1 company. So he's stepping down in class now. Comes in with the big weight now, 126 pounds. Ryan Lewis in the saddle for Jason DaCosta, and Jason opting for a big rider as Haladine is out. But this win last time out, 9 furlongs and 25 yards. Off the pace early, then ran through. Impressive winner by just over a length. Before that, at 7.5 furlongs, was way off the pace. That race looked like he had no chance leaving the half mile, but turned on the afterburners late and powered away to win by 3 lengths from Super Alexander Rainsville. So this GIRVANO getting better with each run. His only kryptonite is he's not a horse with a lot of speed, early speed. He's a horse that will come at you late. The good thing about him, though, he doesn't need anyone to set the pace up for him. He does have nice turn of foot. He's not a horse that chases a collapsing pace. He's a horse that generally comes home really fast. So, although from the head of the scales, but stepping down in class, I personally think the GIRVANO is the horse that they're going to have to beat. And this is his rematch with Supernatural Power, who beat him on debut impressively. Nice little rematch for both those horses. The 7, Tistock. Tyrese Anderson claiming 3 kilos for Anthony Nunes. So another useful imported horse. Last time out, though, was sell back down to even money favorite against Fun Candon and Desert of Malibu at a mile. Was way outclassed in that event. Before that was a winner in the Eras Trophy, which was a grade 1 race, but he didn't really beat grade 1 horses. The grade 1 horse in that race was Commandant, who fell. So he managed to beat Digital One and Wall Street Trader. Basically grade 2 horses. But that was at 7 furlongs, which I think Tistock is, which is in the range of Tistock. I think he prefers 7 furlongs to a mile. He's also one of those that sits just off the pace stalking and then come with a good run. Tyrese Anderson riding very well of late. They've taken off the blinkers off of Tistock. That was a question sign for me the last time out when they put the blinkers on. I think it didn't work, so they've now removed it. Has worked well coming into the race. 5.5 furlongs in 107 and 2. First 5 in 1 minute and 2. So fighting fit. And coming in here, once again, expecting a good run from this Tistock. And the 8, is that a fact? Top weight, 126 pounds. Shane Ellison saddle for Jason DaCosta. Rounding back into form, this American horse on the 26th of July in the Shiza Manita Trophy going a mile. Third by 2 3/4 lengths to Fun Candon and Desert of Malibu, coming from far off the pace. Next start, going 6 furlongs in the Nonsuch last week. Far off the pace once again, and came home flying to finish second by 2 3/4 lengths to Legacy Isle. So definitely regaining form, stretching back out to 7 furlongs. The last good run over 7 furlongs for this horse was in the Gold Cup last year when almost catching Fun Candon. So the 7 furlongs not going to be a problem, just that he's a bit height in the weights, but is basically stepping down in class here, working well, and from a clean break, expecting this Is That a Fact, who probably gets the first run on his stablemate to have a good shot in this event. Very competitive race, some very good horses. Can Supernatural Power come up in class and fight off the speedsters early? Because definitely going to get pressed on the headline by Mahogany and Mamma Mia. And if she can pull this off, that would be a great feat. Will the local horse Mamma Mia use her lightweight to make it first call to That's All? One thing for sure, she's definitely going to keep everybody honest. Will GIRVANO show that he's really something special, even from the head of the scales? Will Tiz Talk, the early thoughts of this horse being a big horse, will he turn up, or is that a fact who's regaining form decide to spoil the show? Very interesting contest, but I'm going to stick with my pet project, even from the head of the scales. I like GIRVANO. And the 10th and final, nature bred 3-year-olds and up, numbers of 2 unimported 3-year-olds and up maiden. Big field at 12, they go 7 furlongs. Bond is down to 4. They're going to be the 3, Mark My Identity, the 6, I'm Outstanding, the 7, Brompton Boy, and the 11, Caymanas. Okay, Mark My Identity, Dane Dawkins riding here for Byron Davis. Last time out was in the Jamaica Derby. Not Disgrace, 6 by 10 lengths to I Dream Again. Before that in the Guineas, 10 to 1, but finished 7 by 13 lengths to Sensational Soul and Bob the Builder. Was 5th in the Kingston by 8 lengths. Definitely a horse that has a lot of ability, but lacks early speed, but has shown up at exercise recently, because this horse was very highly thought of early on. In my opinion, was a very raw bone looking horse, didn't have a lot of muscles, so it's interesting to see how this Mark My Identity looks now. And recent workout with stablemate Nuclear Jet, beat Nuclear Jet in 1 minute 1 and 2 for 5 furlongs out the chute, so that's a very good work there against a very useful stablemate. And this Mark My Identity, in my opinion, looks like the horse that they're all going to have to beat now coming back to restricted company. The 6, I'm Outstanding, Aaron Chatry riding here for Peter John Passad. Like the race, Colt only has 5 starts to date. Was a winner back in April, 5 furlongs straight, making all the running, beating Native Flyer and Alive. Next start was in a non-winners of 2 race, beaten 23 lengths by Prolific Prince. That was an out-of-class run there. Next start was in a non-winner of 2 race, going 6 furlongs, beaten 5th by 12 lengths by Rocket Fire 7. Out-of-class looking imported horses, so has an excuse there. And last time out was in a non-winner of 2 race, going 7 furlongs, beaten 3rd by 9 lengths by H2O, coming off a break, a very impressive H2O. Brompton Boy finished in front of I'm Outstanding there. So has faced some very tough horses, so this is kind of a relief in competition. Expecting a good run from this I'm Outstanding, who is busy at the exercise. Then the 7, Brompton Boy, Radish Roman riding for Anthony Nunes. 4th by 2 3/4 lengths last time out to stablemate Enthusiasm, going 6.5 furlongs. Before that was 2nd by 7 lengths to H2O, had I'm Outstanding behind in that event. Also had a good run over the straight when finishing 2nd by half a length to Miss Marbella. So very useful colt, has nice stalking abilities, and kept busy at the exercise. Another good run expected from this Brompton Boy. And the 11, Caymanas. Caymanas, Dick Carden is riding for Carlton Cunningham. Consistent, last 2 starts, very promising runs. 6.5 furlongs last time out. Turned for home, tried to kick clear, but was caught by Enthusiasm. And Prince Roy finished 3rd by a length and 3/4, so very good run there. Before that, at 6 furlongs, was 2nd by a half a length to Duchess. Family Feud was 3rd in that event. So rounding into some useful form now, does have some pace, and definitely going to keep the front runners honest in this event. Expecting a good run from her. Outside of that, I'd throw into this race to make the exotics interesting is going to be the 12, Pretty Brown Thing. Daniel Thompson claiming 4 kilos here for Edward Stanberry. Only 2 starts to date. On debut, finished 7 by 17 lengths to Roaring Kitty. That was at 6.5 furlongs. Came back in August and came from off the pace and won impressively by 6 3/4 lengths from Joyful Surprise. And he's sensational after coming out the gate slow. So stepping up in class now, but with an impressive run like that, second time of asking. Not beating much, not a very fast time, but definitely seems to have some ability. This is my outsider to watch in the event. But as I said, in my opinion, I think my Identity is the horse that they're all going to have to beat. Okay, guys, I hope we have some luck. Taking some chances, some long shots here, but that's part of racing. And let's see how it turns out. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment. And as always, stay safe.